I think it was growing up here in the desert that I was surrounded by a lot of interesting architecture. I think the architecture that I had growing up wasn't always great, so it taught me to appreciate the unique buildings that I did get to go into. And many of them were schools, libraries, and other public buildings. There's just a great resource here in the desert. So I'm sure that was what was inspiring me. It's kind of like trying to pick a favorite kid. Uh, well, I know one building I've always appreciated is the Tahquitz Canyon Visitor Center. It sits in a natural canyon. There was nothing in the area prior to getting built. And the Agua Caliente Band of Cui Indians were really appreciative when we got it done. It was just an amazing experience, an amazing building. Well, I have to say William Cody, and I have to say the Abernathy House. It's a residence that William Cody did in the early 1960s. And it's always been a great inspiration. It's just it's a wonderful example of indoor-outdoor living. It has a really unique scale. It works well with people, and then it works well in the garden setting that it has. Right now we're working on a project with Sunnylands at the Annenberg Estate, and it's a huge project. It's a campus. So from the smallest projects to the largest projects, they all have meaning, and they all have learning opportunities that kind of continue a thread from the beginning to the end. And that's one of the great things about architecture is it's the continuous thread of learning, experiencing, improving, meeting new challenges and goals that are both set by our clients and they're set by society. Struggle becomes, how do you balance a business? Because at the end of the day, this is a creative business, but it's still a business. It's a small business. There's 10 people in the office. And so how do you balance the ongoing need to keep the entire staff busy, but not too busy? And then in those times when there's not a lot of work, how do you find those opportunities to keep the doors open and to keep people working? So I would say the greatest struggle is kind of outside of my control. So my goals for the future would be to continue to improve the Coachella Valley, to continue the legacy of modernism and sustainability. How can we change the urban environment? So by having good schedules and good awareness of everything that's going on. So communication is really key. Listening, I think, is, architecture really starts with listening. And it's a process of discovery. There's models, there's scale models. And that's one tool that we use is, we can bring scale models. Anybody can start to imagine just by looking at the model, the sense of scale of the rooms, the idea of how the building sits on the land. And tools like this, plus just good communications with the client, or yes. I've taught for 22 years, and what I try to teach students that are in my classes is always be enthusiastic, always be prepared to learn, always be prepared to ask questions and to question. But it's enthusiasm. If you're enthusiastic, If you show up, you're attentive, great things will happen. A passion to succeed. Those are the key ingredients.